What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Thirsty Thoughts on Investing. Today, we are going to talk about five of my favorite facts on investing. I wouldn't necessarily say these are my top five, but I definitely think that they all feature within my top 20, 30 or so. They're not in any particular order, but within them, there'll be wisdom, there is pearls, there is stuff that anybody can take away and use in their investing strategy. So let us begin. I will share my screen. Five facts within investing, 30 thoughts on investing. So, not financial advice, of course. First one, here's something I see all the time. Think about it like this. In order to invest, in order to build your wealth, you must have money in the first place. You must have spare capital. But no matter how much you earn, you're always going to find a way to spend it. And I would just like to home in on that because this is one of my favorite quotes from a financial expert in the US known as Dave Ramsey. And he asks the question, why do we spend too much time working to buy things we don't need to impress people we don't like? Think about it. We all do it. It's like a status quo. It's like we have a nice car just to show off, but are we even necessarily really caring about the opinion of that person that we're trying to impress in the first place? Is that person somebody that's actually important to us, somebody who's actually going to have some massive bearing on the outcome of our life? Quite often the answer is no. Because why is it such a paradox that we say we don't care what other people think, yet we spend a fortune in the attempt of looking rich and the effort to impress people? It's so, so true. And the thing about it is, no matter how much money you have, there's always the next person that you can impress. Even if you've got a really nice Audi or a Beamer or something like that, there's always going to be the next level. There's always going to be the Lamborghini. There's always going to be the Veyron at the next level still. There's always going to be the Rolls Royce. There's always going to be something that you can do to spend that money that you acquire. Where's the cutoff? Unless you just want to get stuck on this treadmill where you're perpetually trying to earn more and more and more money, there has to be an upper limit somewhere. And that's why we need to be able to say, stop. We need to find the point at which that ceases. And this is the first question that you ask yourself. When you're buying something, are you buying it for you, or are you buying it to keep up appearances, to impress people? You don't even really care about their opinions that much anyway. Just ask yourself that question, and always remember, no matter how much money you earn, you'll always be able to burn through it if you don't have a limit on it somewhere along the line. I know dentists who are on 300 grand, 400 grand a year, crazy money, really talented guys and girls, but they spend every penny. By the time school fees are paid, by the time cars are paid for, houses are paid for, nice stuff, they don't actually have anything left. How are they going to save long term? It's crazy. We've got to find that upper limit. We've got to find that sweet spot. There has to be a surplus, and we have to invest that surplus. Number two, your contribution rate. This is the biggest thing that determines your long-term investing success. It doesn't actually matter what the markets do if you're not contributing something in the first place. The markets perpetually go up if you buy the right assets, buy the right things from the start, and resist the urge to tinker. If you've got the right stuff, the thing that's going to determine how much juice you're able to squeeze out of those long-term is how much you're actually contributing. £20,000 in an ISA deposited every year for 20 years at a 10% return rate is 1.3 million. We should all be retired in theory after 20 years, just purely from our ISA, not all of the other stuff that's out there as well, just purely from our ISA, because for most people, maxing that out is totally possible. For most people who are dentists, maxing that out is totally possible. So that's the theory. We should all be retired in 20 years if we're able to max out our ISA. Now, it gets a little bit more in depth than that. And like I say, I'm very careful to say in theory, it's not the only thing that you have to consider. It'll probably take you a little bit longer than that in reality, but you get the picture, you get the message. How much are you tucking away? That's the important part. It's like the dentist we were just talking about a minute ago. If you're earning $250,000 every year, but you're spending every penny, where's that 20,000 going to come from? Now, if you're on that kind of money, there must be some scope there somewhere to max out your ISA or max out your pension, whatever it is that you decide to do. However, I want you to see the bigger picture as well, because sometimes when you go to an FA, they'll tell you to max out your contributions to your ISA and pension as much as you can. Actually, those are the things that you do with your money once you already have it. Those are building your wealth. What about creating wealth? What about the things that are going to put money in your hand in the short term? What about enjoying life? What about tucking a little bit of money away for a business? just think about where you're allocating your money. And whilst it's important to contribute as much as you can, don't let it be your sole focus, would be my advice, because you'll get stuck in that treadmill. You'll find that you're spending 20, 30 years of your life doing a job. Now that's all right, doing the same job. Now that's all right if you like it, but what if you don't like it? What if you want to try other stuff? Save a little bit on the side and use that to generate freedom sometimes. Life is about happiness. Remember, we can talk as much as we like about money, but life is actually about happiness, because the point of the money is to have happiness after all. Okay, and which leads me on to my next point: create wealth, then build wealth. We're so focused on investing that we're not focused on what's actually going to put money in our hand in the first place. Now, the point of investing is that it's just a better place to store your money in the long term. People come to me all the time and they say, hey, can I invest and can I get rich very quickly? And I say, no, that's more what you do with your money once you already have it. Actually, if you're going to create wealth, you need to look at how much value you put on this earth and how you do it. What are the 4 quickest ways that a dentist can get more money put in their hands straight away? Here's the 4 quickest ways. Here's a little bit of gold dust. First one is sales, becoming better at sales, or upgrading your clinical skills. Those 2 things. So it's within your profession. Mainly sales. Sales is something that you can become better at and literally go into work on Monday and make more money. Seriously, that's the power of that. That's the power of sales. Sales is just your ability to describe value, not being a slimy secondhand car salesman. Your ability to describe value and convey it to a patient. Second thing is how much you are having a little bit of spending reviewing. So I don't like the word budgeting. I prefer the word spending reviewing, because if you can spend a little bit of time just thinking about what money's going out and where it's going out, then what that means is that you can actually save yourself a fortune every single month. I've seen some people undertake budgeting exercises, spending reviewing exercises rather, and be able to save £1,000 in their first month. Now that's crazy, okay? That's 4 figures. That's £12,000 in a year. That's the thing that's going to actually put money in your hand even before investing. Investing is more for the very long term before you actually see results, many decades. At least if you're using a long-term approach, that's certainly true. Third thing, accountancy, getting an accountant who can manage your tax affairs proactively rather than reactively. Lots of dentists out there, if you have the right circumstances, if you fit the description, fit the bill, if you're earning £90,000 a year and you're a private dentist, then you can probably achieve a £10,000 tax saving by going limited, because everything over 50,270, the basic tax rate, the money that's coming above that, the tax rate is effectively halved, because you're not paying income tax and national insurance, you're only paying corporation tax at that level. Just be careful, however, because I would definitely speak to an accountant and let them review your circumstances. And actually, it's a little bit more than that. It's more than numbers. It's actually what you do with your money as well. It becomes more the realm of advice. It becomes what you do with your money. Sorry, it becomes more the realm of advice as to whether or not it's going limited is a good idea. Having said that, for some people, black and white, it is a good thing to do. Again, speak to your accountant. I'm just letting you know that it's out there. And the 4th thing is to create a business. Easier said than done, but that's the thing that's going to put money in your hand. One of those 4 things, that's what we should be looking at. Those are the things that will make you richer in the short term. Investing, building your wealth is more long term. So create your wealth first. You can't invest £0. You must create some and then invest it. 4th, have pots. What do I mean by have pots? What I mean by that is the money that's coming in, put it into a pot depending on the purpose of the money. Now, for some people, they'll want to save money up for Christmas, have a Christmas pot. For some people, they want to have a 6 months emergency fund. Well, virtually everybody should have one of those. So that should be a pot of money as well. Some people want to start a business, allocate a little bit towards that. Some people want to invest. Everyone should invest, but only some want to do it for some reason. And you must have a pot to invest your money to. And then what that means is that your money is not sitting dormant, which is what we don't want, because every single time you have dormant money that you don't need is actually you losing out via inflation. Capital is stored labor. If you work for 1,000 hours and you get paid £10,000, because capital is stored labor, it's a record that you work for 1,000 hours. If inflation rate is 10%, and by the end of the year, the record only shows that you worked 900 hours, you've literally lost 100 hours. It's as if you never worked them because we didn't think about how that money could work for us. So there's only three things you can do with money. You can invest it, you can give it away, or you can have fun with it. You can only have so much fun. Not everybody wants a solid gold Lambo and a huge yacht. Not everybody wants that stuff, so you can only have so much fun. The second one, invest it. You can do that 100%. Just got to be careful and know what you're doing. Third one, give it away. We don't want to be destitute. By all means give, but we need to keep some for ourselves. Those are the only three things that you can do with money. Number four, you'll notice there's no number four. What is the number four that you'll find with most people? They hoard it. They hoard. That's what we shouldn't be doing. That's actually not a functional use for money, because it's literally losing you wealth over time. The record of the hard work is going out the window, which we don't want. Fifth one, bit of an obvious one this, but you know what? It's a classic for a reason. It is an obvious one for a reason. Educate yourself. Oh my goodness, educate yourself. This is the difference between you making 6 and 7 figures over the course of a lifetime, quite literally in your pocket, if you have a little bit of knowledge about investing. That's why this stuff exists. It's to help you. That's why I made Dentists Who Invest. You know what? If I could only pick one out of those, which is the most important, I would say educate yourself, because actually you can learn the other four by gaining knowledge, by exploring this stuff. It's so important that you educate yourself. Seriously, it stuns me that some people out there aren't willing to do it, because if you can do it and if you understand how money works, it's literally worth 6, 7 figures to you over the course of a lifetime. This is the difference between us having freedom and the illusion of freedom, delegating our freedom to the government or somebody else, delegating our financial affairs to the government or someone else. Think about it like this. We spend all day watching the news, bashing the government. We're always ready to bash the government and call them out for their ineptness, yet we're totally happy to delegate our financial affairs to them by not taking ownership of learning how to invest our own money and relying solely on our pensions, NHS, SIP, whatever. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And sorry, well, SIP you do have some say over, of course. You do invest that yourself, but NHS and state pension, if we're purely thinking about that and relying on those as our only source of income when we're older, I honestly think that it's such a paradox, because like I said, we spend all day watching the news, slagging off the government, yet at the same time, we're totally happy to delegate our future to them via inaction, via default, because we didn't educate ourselves in finance in the first place. That is the point of Dentists Who Invest. There's so much flipping content on there. Please check it out. Please gain knowledge. Please unlock 6, 7 figures, which is available to yourself via thinking in a different way, via seeing things in a different way over the course of a lifetime. Summary: take those messages that I spoke about today, ruminate on them, think about them, use them to guide your thoughts, in investing. Those are the things that are going to make you rich. Remember, wisdom is not sold by the hour. Wisdom is sold on value. Within those last 5 points that I made, there'll be gems for everybody who are watching. Different people are going to take away different things from each one of those, but I'm convinced that for every single person watching, there will be at least one thing in there that will completely shift and change your perspective on long-term wealth accrual. See you next week.